Welcome to your Health Facts, listeners. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're looking at something you probably have in your kitchen right now, onions. But not just any onion. We're talking specifically about raw onions and the potential health benefits they might offer.
Yeah, I think everyone's pretty familiar with onions, right? We cook with them all the time, but when you eat them raw, turns out there's a whole other side to this veggie.
Right, and we all know cooking can change things, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. So what's the deal with raw onions? Why all of a sudden buzz about them?
Well, when you cook onions, you actually end up changing their chemical makeup. And you might be losing out on some of the good stuff, especially those antioxidants. Raw onions, they're like a little powerhouse of those.
Okay, so we're talking antioxidants, but what else is going on here? I gotta admit, when I saw the topic for today's deep dive, I was a little skeptical.
Oh, I bet. It's not the first thing that comes to mind when you think health food, right?
Definitely not. But I did a little reading before we got started today, and one of the things that really stood out was this whole connection between raw onions and testosterone levels.
Interesting, right?
Yeah. So apparently, there are compounds in raw onions that can actually boost the production of something called luteinizing hormone.
Ah, yeah, luteinizing hormone.
And that hormone signals the body to produce, you guessed it, more testosterone.
Makes you think twice about that onion dip, huh?
It does. I mean, it's probably not a miracle cure or anything, but still.
No, not a miracle cure, of course. But hey, every little bit helps, right?
Exactly. Okay, so that's testosterone. But what about this thing I read about raw onions being good for your eyes? I mean, usually they just make me cry.
Well, funny enough, it's those same sulfur compounds that make your eyes water that can actually be beneficial for your vision.
Wait, really?
Yep. They help protect against infections and even reduce eye strain. Plus, they bump up the production of glutathione, a powerful antioxidant that's especially good for keeping your eyes healthy as you age.
Huh, so the thing that makes you cry is actually good for your eyes. That's pretty wild. Anything else these onions can do?
Oh, you better believe it. We've only just scratched the surface.
Okay, lay it on me. What else you got?
Well, how about a good night's sleep?
Raw onions and sleep. I don't see the connection.
Raw onions are actually a pretty decent source of L-tryptophan.
L-tryptophan.
Yeah, it's that amino acid your body uses to make serotonin and melatonin. You know, the stuff that helps regulate your sleep cycle.
Okay, so not directly, but they sort of set the stage for better sleep.
That's the idea.
Well, I'm definitely starting to see raw onions in a whole new light.
That's what we're here for, to uncover those hidden health gems. And trust me, there are plenty more where those came from. Now, this next one really caught my eye when I was doing some research for today. We've talked about the potential benefits for testosterone, eye health, even sleep.
Right, right.
But get this, raw onions may also play a role in cancer prevention.
Whoa, seriously. Cancer prevention, that's a big claim.
It is. It is. And like with anything, more research is always needed. But the early studies are pretty interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the connection here?
Well, like we were talking about earlier, raw onions are packed with antioxidants, right? And those antioxidants are like little warriors fighting off those harmful free radicals that can damage our cells.
Gotcha. Free radicals bad. Antioxidants good.
Exactly. But here's the thing about raw onions. They also contain these powerful cancer-fighting compounds. They've been studied in the lab, and the results have been pretty promising.
So not just preventing damage, but actually fighting off cancer cells.
That's what the research suggests. Now, it's still early days, and more studies need to be done with humans, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
For sure. Okay, so raw onions for cancer prevention. I'm taking notes. What else?
It's like heart health.
Okay, yeah, heart health is always a hot topic.
For good reason. And raw onions can actually play a role in keeping your ticker in tip-top shape. You see, they can actually help lower your cholesterol levels.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Which cholesterol are we talking about here?
Mainly the bad cholesterol, the LDL. That's the one that can clog your arteries and lead to heart problems.
Right, right. The bad kind. So raw onions can help with that.
They can. And not only that, they also contain chromium.
Chromium, like the stuff in shiny car parts.
Not quite. But chromium is a mineral that's important for keeping your blood sugar levels stable. And having steady blood sugar is key for overall health, but it's especially important for your heart.
So raw onions for a healthy heart, another one for the list. And I'm guessing they're good for the immune system too. I mean, they're basically a multivitamin at this point.
You're not wrong. Raw onions are a fantastic immune booster. All those vitamins, minerals, antioxidants we've been talking about, they all work together to keep your immune system strong and ready to fight off whatever comes its way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can fight cancer and lower cholesterol, a little cold virus probably doesn't stand a chance.
Pretty much. Plus, they have a ton of vitamin C, which is a classic immune booster.
Right, vitamin C.
And don't forget quercetin. That's another powerful antioxidant that's really good at reducing inflammation and protecting your cells from damage.
Okay, so we've got cancer prevention, heart health, immune support.
Yeah.
I mean, the list just keeps growing. But let's be honest, raw onions aren't exactly known for their appealing taste or smell. I don't know how many people are going to be chomping down on a whole raw onion after this.
Haha, yeah, that's fair. The pungent smell and taste can definitely be a bit much for some people, but there are some tricks you can use to make them a little more palatable.
So any tips for those of us who aren't quite ready to start eating raw onions like apples?
Oh, absolutely. First off, try slicing them really thinly. That helps mellow out the flavor a bit.
Okay, thin slices. Got it.
And you can try soaking those slices in some cold water for a few minutes. That'll help take the edge off, too.
Soaking, all right. I can see that working.
And then think about incorporating them into dishes where they're not the star of the show. You know, like salads with a nice vinaigrette or a sandwich with some strong cheese.
Right. Hide the flavor a little bit.
Exactly. And if you're really sensitive to the strong taste, try starting with milder varieties like red onions or sweet onions.
Yeah, good point. I actually like red onions raw sometimes.
See? And here's another little trick. Pairing raw onions with fatty foods can really help balance out the flavor.
Oh, interesting. So like on a burger or something.
Exactly. Or even just a little avocado on the side.
Okay, those are some pretty good tips. I'm feeling a little more adventurous about raw onions now.
That's the spirit.
But before we all go running to the grocery store to stock up on onions, any downsides we should be aware of?
That's a great question and always important to consider, right? For most people, a little raw onion here and there isn't going to cause any problems.
Right.
But some folks with sensitive stomachs, maybe those who have IBS or other digestive issues, they might experience some bloating or gas after eating raw onions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And it's always a good idea to check with your doctor if you're on any medications, especially blood thinners or diabetes meds, just to make sure there are no interactions.
Good reminder.
And of course, if you have any allergies to onions, well then raw onions are definitely a no-go.
Of course, allergies are always something to be mindful of. But all in all, it sounds like the benefits of raw onions might outweigh the risks for most people.
I'd say so. And you don't need to eat mountains of them to see the benefits. Even just a little bit a few times a week can make a difference.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. Testosterone, eye health, sleep, cancer prevention, heart health, immune support.
Quite the list. And there's actually one more thing I wanted to mention. Onions have this really cool synergistic effect on other foods.
Synergistic effect.
Yeah, it means they can actually help your body absorb nutrients from other foods better.
Really? I've never heard of that.
It's pretty neat. Specifically, the sulfur compounds in onions boost your body's ability to absorb zinc from other foods you're eating.
So, like a little bonus boost? Well, I think it's safe to say we've all learned a lot about raw onions today. Who knew this humble vegetable packed such a punch?
Right. It just goes to show sometimes the most powerful health solutions are right under our noses, or in this case, in our pantries.
That's a great way to put it. So the next time you're in the kitchen, maybe think twice before tossing that onion into the frying pan. A little bit of raw onion could go a long way.
Couldn't agree more.
And if you're looking for more deep dives into fascinating health topics, be sure to visit our website, yourhealthfacts.com. We're always uncovering the latest research and sharing practical tips to help you live your healthiest life. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.